Hello friends, Chris again with a handy dandy programming tip for you. An easy way to plan out your training. I have this week some fancy graphs to show. So this is a very simple example. We have time and we have strength. What happens in an ideal scenario when you're training? Well, you train for a bit and you get this nice steady increase in strength from down here you're a weakling and up here you're Adonis, godlike creature. Congratulations if it works out that way for you, that easy. Oftentimes it doesn't. Why? Well, the obvious bit. If everybody could be really super duper strong that easy, everybody would be super duper strong. But it is tough because you have to balance the dose of your training with the response you get. So you administer a dose of barbell work, let's say, and then you need enough recovery to be able to get over that, to get compensated from it, to adapt to it, and then you increase a little bit more. If you do that just so, right, you get this nice little incremental increase in performance, let's say weekly, and then monthly, and then over the course of a year or two, and now you arrive at some really cool destination. But what ends up happening oftentimes? Well, you could increase a little bit too conservatively. In that case, it takes you a long time to get strong. I'd say this might be your pink dumbbells, the lady at the gym with the pink dumbbells, or maybe your grandma in her living room working out with soup cans. It might be the guy at the local gym who does the same 3 sets of 10 on that machine bench press for the last 15 years and is not getting any stronger. But that's kind of a rare thing. Most people want to be a little more aggressive and get to where they're going quicker. So what happens is maybe you try to go a little too fast. So maybe instead of adding 10 pounds a week on all your strength lifts for the lower body like squats and deadlifts, 5 pounds on things like bench and press, maybe even 5 or just a few pounds on very complicated lifts like snatches and clean and jerks, because those progress sometimes a little slower, maybe. You end up increasing too quickly and you hit a roadblock. And that's really, the way I like to think about that is, this is when you learn the difference between testing yourself and training. So testing is going to the gym and seeing what you can do. You try to crush a wad really fast, as quickly as possible, lift as much weight as you can for 1 rep, lift a little bit less weight, but do it as many times as possible. That's fine to find out where you are, but it's not a good way to train. It's a more conservative process where you add weight incrementally in a patient way. So what's the easiest way I can explain how much is enough? Well, I get that advice actually from all people, Ernest Hemingway, one of the best writers ever. And he was asked one time, or maybe he's just talking over drinks and cocktails, how do you avoid writer's block? So writer's block, me being a writer, I've felt that for a time or two. You're hitting it hard, maybe you're writing as much as possible, then you run out of things to say. How do you avoid that? Well, you can stop short. So if you're working, and you make good points, you make some good progress, you can stop knowing exactly where you should begin the next day. If you do that, you can sit right back down and know just what to type to get your momentum back. I think it's very helpful to think of training in that same exact way. If you can stop your training, having worked hard, you don't want to be on this side of the curve. But having worked hard, if you know that the next time you train, you can get that 10-pound increase on the deadlift. You can get that 5-pound increase on your press. You can jerk 5 pounds more. You're doing really, really good. Keep that up as long as you can. That's what you're going to experience in your early phases and your intermediate phases. When it gets too hard to do that session to session, when you start getting a little too high, you start hitting a little bit of a plateau, you can feel the roadblock coming on. Instead of trying to increase every week, space it out to 2 weeks. That gives you more time to recover. Gives you more time for your response. As that gets tougher, every 3 weeks. As that gets tougher, every 4 weeks, and therefore. So what happens is you find yourself going from beginner to intermediate to advanced, because the only difference between somebody who's a beginner and somebody who's really advanced is the strength potential. As you get closer and closer to what you could lift, it takes a little bit longer to recover. If you keep that in mind, you'll always be able to adjust your programming to great effect. So I hope you like that tip. We'll see you next time for some more. Cheers.